Hi, I'm Jeff Ludy, the owner of Houston Window Experts. I'm so glad you're watching this video. I'm standing here in our beautiful showroom on 38th Street in Houston. As you can see, we have 20 brands of windows and doors to choose from, including Marvin and Anderson and Pella and Windsor and Amsco and T. So many choices. We're kind of like the CarMax of windows and doors. And part of our YouTube channel, the reason we exist, is to help people be informed, to understand, to learn, right? Because buying windows is a big decision. Did you know that 83 days is the average length of time it takes someone from the time they think I need new windows for my home to the actual time that they buy the windows? 83 days is what our studies have shown. And so this is not the kind of decision you take lightly. You don't just go out and buy windows. You know, if you went out and bought a TV at Best Buy and you didn't like that TV, they have, I think, like a 15-day or a 30-day return policy, right? So you could watch the Super Bowl and then take it back. But with windows, oh my gosh, but when you pull those old windows out, you're going to destroy those windows getting them out. Not destroy your home, by the way, but destroy your windows getting them out. And then the new windows have to work at this point, because if they don't, you're really in trouble. So information is powerful, and the more information you have, the smarter decisions you will make, and of course, the happier you'll be with your window project. Today, I'm going to do something that kind of just occurred to me, because it's not the kind of thing that's on my list of things to do in our video topics, but I got to thinking about double pane windows. People say all the time, hey Jeff, I got a price from one company for double pane windows, and then I got a price from another company for double pane windows, and they were considerably different. And Jeff, then I got a price from you, and it's different than the other two. Why? And what's going on there? And so I got to thinking sometime at some point we should talk about this. You know, just the fact that you're getting a double pane window doesn't mean you're getting a good window. Just like there are good TVs and bad TVs, there's good cars and bad cars, there's good people and bad people, there's good windows and bad windows, and there's good vinyl and there's bad vinyl, and there's good fiberglass and bad fiberglass. I mean, there's a lot of choices. And so I was looking at something, and it kind of surprised me. We were taking a look at our numbers, because we install about 20,000 windows a year, where we take out old windows and put new ones in. And I got to looking at our numbers. Believe it or not, almost 25% of the windows we replaced last year were already double pane windows. I mean, that's terrible, right? I mean, most people bought windows with the assumption that if I buy these new double pane windows, or I bought a house that has double pane windows, I will never have to touch my windows again. I'm going to live here happily ever after, and there will be nothing to do. Well, that is not true, because if you get a bad window, it doesn't matter to me if it's double pane or not, it's going to give you issues down the road. So today, I want to show you something, because we just finished a project, and we actually grabbed this thing before it went into the dumpster. This is a double pane window that we pull out of a house, a double pane window. And I just want to show you the difference between that and a premium double pane window versus a junk double pane window, and just how it performs better, how it's going to last longer, how it's just engineered to make you happier. And to do that, I have to bring in a friend who's also a colleague of mine. This is Bradley Swenson. Hello, Brad. Fist bump.
Fist bump.
How you doing?
Good.
So Bradley is our inside product specialist. He doesn't go out into the field. We have other people who do that. He's here in our showroom. He gives tours. He does virtual tours. You use your like iPhone and stuff, and do little virtual tours for those who want to do it that way. And he also helps people who are building new homes. He helps people who need a quote now before we can get out there maybe in person to look at that. And I thought I'd get you to come in and help. So what do you like most about selling windows at Houston Window Experts? Have you given that some thought?
The thing that I like most is working with people, just the face-to-face kind of thing. Just seeing the project that they have and kind of just walking with them in that process is a lot of fun. And then just my coworkers, I love my coworkers. They're a lot of fun to work with, and we all get along so well. It's a great place to work.
So one of his coworkers is actually one of our product specialists, your brother Josh Swenson, who is out in the field, and that's how we came to know Bradley. And we're not just trying to keep it in the family. You know, my son works here too, but it's just a matter of you get the right people with the right character and the right disciplines, the right habits. And when you see that, then we want to add them to our team. But by the way, this guy grew up Ecuador, right?
Ecuador and Colombia.
Ecuador and Colombia as a missionary's kid. He then became a missionary himself, spent some time with his beautiful wife and daughter in Spain, right?
Spain, yeah.
Was Sophia born in Spain?
She was born here. We left when she was 6 months.
6 months old. Okay. So he's been U.S. side now for a couple of years. He was a vocational minister at a church, a local church in this area, and we snagged him off a Jesus team and we put him onto our team. So, hey, we're all on the right team anyway, right? Yeah. So you know what that means? That means he habla español. Say something in Spanish to the viewers.
Sí, aquí en Houston Window Experts hablamos español. Si tienen una ventana o 10,000 ventanas, estamos aquí para servirles.
And let me add to that. Mira, yo también hablo español. ¿Tú sabes que yo hablo español?
Sí, claro que sí.
Me gustan los tacos, los burritos, la Coca-Cola, la cerveza. I speak Spanish too because I was a missionary's kid for a period of time in Mexico. So kind of cool that we both speak Spanish. If you do speak Spanish and you need some help with windows, we're here to do it. Okay, so I need his help because he's going to help me with this window. This is the one that we pulled out. I'm going to compare it to this window here by Windsor. Okay, Windsor, if you've watched any of my videos, you'll see that Windsor is one of my favorite brands for their wood products. Windsor and Pella and Anderson are terrific wood products with aluminum exterior, but they also make awesome top-end, super ultra-premium vinyl products. And if we ever have a chance to show this to you, I think you're really going to like it. So it's kind of like we're cheating, like we're taking Super Bowl champions against like junior high teams. It's going to be pretty obvious the difference, but I think it's going to help you make sure you don't make a mistake and buy a double pane junk window. So one of the things that you would notice about this window right now is that there appears to be nothing wrong with it, right? Because it still has its glass intact. In fact, the seal hasn't even failed, which is kind of a common problem with bad windows. It's absolutely fine. So why would a homeowner replace an entire house full of double pane windows? Well, because the frame construction was made out of cheap vinyl, the glass was made out of cheap glass, and they started to fail. They will not close, they will not operate properly, they look ugly, and I'm going to show you some of that in just a minute. But I wanted you to see that there's nothing wrong with this window to the naked eye, which makes me think you should always get your windows checked before you buy a house by a professional, right? Make sure that they're actually not junk. Just because they don't look like junk doesn't mean that they're not junk. And this window itself, it has a sticker on it, and we'll get you a close-up of this. But this window was made 8/1/2011. 8/1/2011. Now, the house is older than 2011. This was part of a remodel project that the previous owner had done to the house that now the project is failing. And now they're replacing their replacement windows. How sad is that? So here this window is, at this point, 9 years old, and it's junk and it has to come out. And I really hate seeing that. So what are the differences between bad windows and good windows? Because they're both double pane. For that, we're going to use some tools, some instruments. Help me hold this window up real quick. Now, you've probably seen me use this before. I have a video about NFRC ratings, about how you rate windows. And this is a little tool that can tell us, it can test the window. Maybe you can look over my shoulder here. And you can see that the numbers on that, the ultraviolet light is 21%, 22%. Visible light is 48, infrared is 3, and solar heat gain is 0.27. I'm going to hit hold on that so we can hold that thought for just a minute. Okay, tilt that back for me. Thank you, Bradley. I'm going to write these on here, okay? So the UV is 21%. The visible is 47, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. The infrared is 3%, and the solar heat gain, which is a very important number, is a 0.27. Okay, so let's go test this window here. This is a window that is made by Windsor, and it's using cardinal glass. You'll see in a minute that it's pretty obvious that that is not cardinal glass. So I'm going to reset. We're back to 100% on all of these items. I'm going to put it back through here. And 363, 1, almost 0 on that, and a 2.8. Okay, let me hit hold. Okay, I'm going to write those down on here. So UV is 3% compared to 21. Visible transmission is 63 compared to 47. Infrared is 1% compared to 3%. Solar heat gain is 0.28 compared to 0.27. Okay, so let's talk about those numbers and what they mean. So, probably the most important number to determine whether or not your window is doing its job, in addition to blocking water and so on, but when it comes to energy, is going to be the solar heat gain coefficient. What that says to me is, and the lower the number the better, that tells me that this window is doing a great job of blocking the heat from coming through the window and getting inside the house to create heat, right? In Houston, we want to keep the cold in most of the year and the heat out. That's where we spend most of our energy dollars. So a 0.27 is actually better than a 0.28. Who would have thought? How can you get a cheaper double pane window that failed in a matter of 9 years to outperform on a solar heat gain coefficient compared to a much better window? Well, here's the rest of the story. Let's look at this. Visible light transmission. This number, 47, this tells me how much of the light, daylight, just so I can see when I'm walking around in my house, how much of that light is coming through. Well, this one, only 47% of the light is coming through to achieve a 0.27. This one achieves a 0.28. Look, 63% of the light is coming through. 63% light compared to 47% light for one almost insignificant decimal difference there. Now here's another thing to look at. Infrared. Infrared is 49% of the sun. The rays that hit us from the sun, 49% of them are infrared rays that come into your home, and they come through this window and they actually carry the heat. So infrared here is 3%. Infrared here is 1%. So here's how they did it. What they did was they said, we're going to make our product darker to achieve a good number because it's going to cost me more money to make this number lower. So this company said, no, we want a good number, but we don't want to do it by reducing light. We want to do it by reducing ultraviolet transmission. Think about it this way. This number and this number are kind of like a teeter-totter, right? The better this number performs, usually the worse that number gets. So the better performing the window is for letting heat in, the darker the house becomes. Now, if you have an older home with big window overhangs, okay, like say a 1950-something, a modern type home with big overhangs, and you have lower ceilings in your house, and you don't have 10 windows across the front of your house, you have fewer windows, this is going to be brutal. I mean, that is really going to hurt. If you thought your house looked dark now, it's going to look like a cave in order for you to achieve that solar heat gain number. This one's going to give you the performance you deserve with more light. Now, I don't know if you'll see it on the camera, but even just standing here looking at these two windows side by side, if you look through this and you look to the wall behind there, you'll see that the window on the left is not, I mean, just visibly, it's not nearly as dark as this window is on the right. Now, ultraviolet. What is ultraviolet? Ultraviolet rays are the ones that actually cause skin cancer. That's when you get a sunburn. If you stand outside in the sun too long, the UV rays will cause damage. They also will cause damage to your furniture, to your fabrics, to your flooring, to your carpet, to your children, if you let them stand in front of the window for too long. So this one doesn't do a very good job of blocking the ultraviolet. 21% of the ultraviolet comes through, where on this one, only 3% of the ultraviolet comes through. 3% compared to 21%. Now, here's the thing. Here's the little trick that they pull on you when they try to sell you a window. They'll come to you and say, guess what? My solar heat gain number is a 0.27. I'm better than that guy. He's a 0.28. I'm a 0.27 and I'm half the price. Well, yeah, but you're getting less than half the window because your infrared is really high, okay, which is not good. Your visible transmission went way down compared to that one. The ultraviolet's coming through and cooking your furniture compared to this one. And that's before we even talk about the frame quality and the install quality and the warranties. But it looks good on paper, doesn't it? It looks good on paper. So let me give you an example. You're going to laugh, I hope. If I said to you, look, my vehicle gets 40 miles per gallon, you said, oh, that's pretty good. That one over there, that one gets 80 miles per gallon. Just on that information alone, you'd pick the 80 mile per gallon one. Well, what if one was a Rolls Royce and the other was a Vespa? right? A go-kart. There is a big difference. Just giving somebody a performance number that sounds good doesn't mean it's a good window. And in this case, that's the proof of it. Now, we're not done testing. Come on back here, my helper. And by the way, most of everything I say on these videos is my opinion, okay? Forgive me if you disagree. But this isn't. This is actual science. These are actual numbers generated by this tool. Okay, so on this one, this is going to tell us the glass, what is there, and it's going to tell us the thickness of the glass, the overall thickness of the whole unit. It goes dark when it's reading the numbers. And then it's going to tell me about the low E coating. And if we have to redo this so that you can see a close-up. Okay, 1/8" glass, an 1/8" glass, and 7/16 air depth. And then look at this, soft coat. How many surfaces? It's on surface number 2. How many layers? Double. So this has 2 coats of low E on surface 2. Now, if you need more explanation of that, I've got a video called Low E, Is It Worth It? Or something along those lines. We'll put a link to it. Watch it, it'll help you understand it. Okay, so double pane, okay? And 7/16 inch of dead air space, 1/8" piece of glass, 1/8" piece of glass. Now let's check this one. Oh, and 2 coats of low E. Now, we're gonna test this one. Same thing here, give it a little second, it's doing the reading. And what you're gonna find is that this unit has the same glass, 1/8" and 1/8". It has a 1/2 inch of dead air space, and it has surface 2, soft coat, triple coat compared to a double coat of low E. Okay, so let me make sense of all of that for you. I could argue if I was a salesman selling this window. Yes, sir, mine also has 1/8" glass, just like that beautiful Windsor product has. Oh, yes, sir, mine has two layers of 1/8" glass. And I could even argue as a salesperson, and guess what? My window only requires 2 coats of low E, and it gets a better performance than the other guy who costs more, who has 3 coats of low E. And that would all sound good on paper, because you're never going to see these 2 windows side by side unless you come here and let me show you. But here's what he's doing. He's getting this is like a rounding error probably. He's getting 1 point better on solar heat gain with 2 coats of low E, and it's darker than this window. This one is virtually identical, doing it with 3 coats of low E and getting better visible transmission, better ultraviolet protection, and better infrared penetration as well. How do they do it? Well, it's the quality of glass. This company can take 3 coats and look better than this company does at 2 coats. Now here's where homeowners would make a terrible mistake, and they would regret it forever, and they say, Jeff, I wish I'd watched your videos earlier. Most of them would have seen a quote from a reputable company like ourselves using Cardinal glass, which is the best in the industry, and we would have shown them a 3-coat low E, a triple low E. They would have said to this guy then, I think I'd like a triple low E on your window. And he says, well, absolutely, I'll give you a triple low E. In fact, it's probably going to take them down from a 0.27 to like a 0.25. And then everybody would be even more excited. But you know what else would go down? This visible light transmission would go from 47 to somewhere in the low 40s, maybe even upper 30s. It would start to turn into a cave. So what's better? Do you really want to have a 0.25 compared to a 0.28 and have 3 coats of low E and be in the 30-something% visible transmission compared to the 63%? So what I'm saying is, this is a true athlete. This is an athlete that's been doping up, right? You see those people that shooting all kinds of dope and they got that big forehead and they get road rage because they're going crazy with all the steroids in their body. This is a window on steroids trying to make up for the fact that it's cheap and it's bad and it's ugly and it doesn't do a good job. This is the real genuine deal. This is the pure stuff. This is what you get when you buy a better window. You get better performance with better lifespan, and it looks better at the same time. It doesn't just work good, it looks good doing it. That's the big difference. And it's in the science, the numbers are in the science. We're not making any of that up. Okay, now I want to point out some just differences between the windows. Forget about the glass, because the glass could be in any window and you could have those same issues. One of the things I noticed about this window, and I thought, wait a minute, this can't be right. Maybe somehow it's the way it's sitting, but help me again with this, Bradley. If you get way down low and look, do you see how this looks like it's bowed across here? You see that how that's actually warped a little bit. Now it's easier to spot if you follow this line right here. Right here, this is called a glazing bead. This piece is a glazing bead. If you notice here in the middle, it's actually inside the frame. If you notice out here at the ends, you can actually see the bottom of that glazing bead. Same over on this side, same thing. So I thought what you're thinking right now, yeah, that's one of those salesman gimmick things. Let's put it down on the ground. It must be that it's sitting up on that block of wood, and that's why that thing is bowed and ugly. All right, so let's put it down here. Push down on that sash, would you? Let's make sure we're not cheating in any way. Pushing down as hard as we can. You can still see right here, look. I can see the bottom edge of that glazing bead. It disappears in the middle, and it reappears again over here on the right. If you've watched my videos and I've talked to you about bad vinyl, I've talked to you about what's called a smiling window, a happy window. The happy window is usually right here in the middle. This one doesn't have much of that. It does have a little bit of a bow here, but this is what's called the frowning window, where the bottom actually arches up at the center. And what that's caused by is the fact that the vinyl, you ready for this? The vinyl's so cheap and it's so much junk that when this window gets anchored down, the springs that help assist this sash from opening and closing properly, help balance it, the springs are attached down here. And actually the springs start to pull that vinyl up over time when the window's not in use, just because it's attached down there. And then it ends up sucking it up into the center. Why? Well, because windows, if they install them properly, you never put a screw in the bottom of a window. So they can't put a screw in there to hold that down. If they put a screw in there, that would void the warranty. Yet, when you look at it, this window is obviously deranged itself by being in the sun. Now, one of the things I want you to see, come here, watch this. See my hand? Clean, right? Now, we did nothing to this window other than take it out of before it hit the dumpster. Look at that. Chalking. Now, this window still looks good from the street, right? But it's not good anymore. That's what the sun has done to this. Now, why does that happen? The reason that happens is because there's an ingredient that goes into vinyl windows that helps it resist ultraviolet light and helps it last longer. It's called calcium carbonate. And calcium carbonate works really good to help make the window resistant to the elements of the sun. And titanium dioxide is the one that helps prevent the ultraviolet light from destroying the vinyl. So titanium dioxide, calcium carbonate, very important for windows. Titanium dioxide is the most expensive ingredient of the inert ingredients that go inside of a polyvinyl chloride window, a PVC window, a vinyl window. And so the less of that you can use, the more bottom line profit you can have at your corporation at the end of the year. And in this case, it appears to me that they really didn't use very much of it. And therefore, the sun has made this effect on the window over a period of time. Now, just so you know, it actually is the sun doing it. I'm going to rub my hand. Look, here's my other hand. It's still clean. This one's dirty still. You can see it's clean. So it's not happening on the inside. It's only happening on the outside, which tells me that they've not done a good job of protecting the vinyl when they made the vinyl. And they saved some money. And because of that, this window's being replaced at 9 years of age. Another thing I think you should look at too, because remember I always talked to you about installation? I want to point out something to you. Look at the top of this window. You see how dirty that is? The reason this window's so dirty is because when it was installed, all they did was caulk the window. You see a little bit of caulking right here, and not much. They caulked the window around the perimeter of the house, and they did nothing to protect this window itself from being exposed to the elements. If this window was not exposed to the elements, you probably wouldn't be seeing all this dirt on here, would you? You wouldn't. Look at the caulking that they used here on the sides. I mean, it's don't get me wrong, it's not going to be pretty, right? Because when you go to caulk, you've got brick or you've got sheetrock or something else in the way. But look at this, how it's not even hardly flexible anymore. It actually is crumbing on me. It's actually failing. And what is to keep this window from allowing any moisture or dirt, in this case dirt as well, obviously, from coming through into the house? Almost nothing. This actually is not the fault of the window. For that, I'm not going to blame the window. I'm going to blame the window installer. It's really disappointing. I've told you many times that a good window with a bad installer is a bad window. If anything, I'd rather have a bad window and a good installer. This window still would have failed due to the other reasons, but by God, if we'd installed this window 9 years ago, you wouldn't have seen all this dirt up here because they just didn't do it right. They didn't install it right. Another reason they got rid of this window, come around this side, look, is it just will not operate. Okay, can you hold it down?
Yep.
Ready? Hold on, let me try to. Okay, I'm going to tilt this. This is a tilt window, by the way. You've seen my video about tilt windows. If you haven't, you should watch that. Okay, there it goes. Okay, now imagine that was your 4-year-old daughter, second floor, trying to get out of the window when there's a fire. Oh, like butter. What a piece of junk. And then you know, we fight off the industry blemishes. People are like, yeah, I bought windows from a guy and he was a scammer and I hated my windows. And not all windows are the same. Not all window companies are the same. Not all installers are the same. And here's a real good example of a real bad window. I'll point out a couple other things just for fun. If I can open this window. Doggone it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, and by the way, that's as easy. We spent a half hour trying to get this window to look good. We were about to wipe the top of the dirt off. I said, no, don't. I want to talk about why there's dirt up there. But we did. We spent, did we not spend time?
We did.
You were a preacher, right? You're not lying. It took a while. It took a while to get this window where we could even work on it. Okay. I want you to see the weather stripping on this. That's it. That's all you get right there. A little piece of that. I call it rat's fur. And then you have another little piece of it right down here on the inside. Actually, the inside one looks pretty good. It looks like that one hasn't been exposed too much to the weather, but the outside one is pretty crummy. Compare that to this. So here, check this out. You got a nice big water dam across the back. And that keeps any water that might try to build an air from being able to come. I mean, if the water got that deep coming into your house, you're in a hurricane or something else is happening. So you're in trouble anyway. You got that. And then right here, if you look right here in the front, this is a very flexible silicone-based weather strip. And what's cool about that is when this closes down on there, this thing comes between the back and the front. You see there's another water dam here. And if you watch right there as it closes, that goes in there really nice and tight, creates a real nice seal across the bottom there. And that keeps any of the water from getting into the dam, but if it did get into the dam, it gets stopped before it actually would flow into the house. Better weather stripping, better corners, better welds. This is pretty crummy here. Better overall construction, high in titanium dioxide, high in calcium carbonate, the right amount of calcium carbonate. Better looking window, better performing window. And that's why just because you have double pane windows doesn't mean you have a good product. I'm hoping this is helping you. It's helped me. Let me tell you just a quick story and we'll be done for today. When I started in this industry, it was 2012, and I started Houston Window Experts. And this just shows you how naive I was about windows. I thought to myself, what's going to happen? Because between me and the other 180 people selling windows in Houston, at some point, we're going to be done replacing all these double pane windows, and I'm going to be out of a job, and maybe I'll go to delivering pizza or something, right? Because if you do a window project right, it should last as long as you live in that home, for sure, maybe 30, 40, 50 years. And after I started seeing this kind of stuff, I realized, man, you're talking about job security. It's going to continue to happen over and over again because there are a lot of people selling junk windows out there. And it's unfortunate because I hate that. I really hate that. What we like is we like to sell windows to someone and they tell their neighbor, and their neighbor tells their neighbor, and they tell their boss. And then when you sell that house because you go to a nicer zip code, because you got a promotion at work, or the kids finally moved out of the house and you have money left to go do something nice for yourselves, then you call me again and we come back out and we do windows for you again. But this kind of stuff, this would keep me up at night. This kind of stuff, I would hope I'd have no more than a 5-year warranty on my labor for something like this, but we don't. We put a lifetime warranty on our labor, and most of our window brands come with at least 20 years of warranty for the windows. Anything I didn't cover you think I should have mentioned there, Bradley? What do you think?
I think you mentioned it all, sir.
Okay. Last thing I'm going to say. I know I said that a minute ago, but I promise this is it. I heard a saying one time, and I never say this to people to their face because it's rude, and I'm not a rude guy, but it's a true statement. And when it comes to home improvement industry, there's a saying that says, Never enough money to do it right the first time, but always enough money to do it again. And that's the case here. They saved a little bit of money doing it this time, and then they had to spend all of that money and more again to do it a second time. Don't make the mistake. Information is power. The more you know, the better decisions you're going to make, and we're here to help. Now, if you're watching on YouTube and you're not in Houston, we can't help you, right? Because we only cover the Houston market. But if you look in the links down below, there's an email. If you wanted to email our office, if you want to know if we know somebody in your area, we do know some people around the country that are great window companies. Maybe we can point you in the right direction. If you do live in the Houston area, please set an appointment to come in and meet with Bradley, or come in and meet with me, or let us come out to your house. It's a free service. No pressure, no obligation. We treat you and your home and your family with honesty, with dignity, and with respect. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. We'll talk to you again real soon.